BigBear.AI was down almost 5% last week. It's down around 28% in the last month and up 48% in the last 12 weeks. So right now, BigBear is in a short-term downtrend, but is up over the medium term. So in this video, I'm going to conduct a price analysis for BigBear and offer my thoughts and opinions on whether you should buy this AI stock right now. Let's take a look. Now, if you find value in my analysis of BigBear.AI stock today or other stocks on my channel, you may also find value in my email newsletter. If you subscribe, I'll share with you professional trading tips to help you make more profits trading stocks. Link down below, check it out. So BigBear.AI was down about 5% last week, and it's down about 27% in the last month following the negative Q2 earnings report. The last 2 weeks for BigBear have been bearish. You can see last week here we've got a little red bar, inside bar, and of course the week before there was a big sell-off of this AI stock based on the Q2 earnings report being negative. You can see here during that week, opened around $7. It was sold off down to around $4.75 support. And then for the week, it closed about halfway up the bar at about $6. So based on those Q2 earnings reports, the sellers have taken over in the last 2 weeks, and BigBear has fallen about 30% over the last 4 weeks. However, although BigBear is in a short-term downtrend based on the price action, it is still in a medium-term uptrend. You can see on screen on the weekly chart, I've got this orange-yellow trend line just indicating and guiding that price up from this recent price trough. You can see 235 is this trough here back in April 2025. I can see BigBear did attract buyers at this price point. Big reversal bar after the sell-off. And since that time, it has been trending up gradually. And you can see here, as we know, there was a big breakout during the last couple of weeks of June. So this week here, a big green bullish bar moved up from 390 and closed at 585. More buying the week after. And eventually BigBear peaked out at resistance around about $8.80. And then we had a bit of a battle between the buyers and the sellers over the next 4 to 5 weeks. It was moving between this level up here of 870 and also the support level of around about $6. And it was moving back and forth for a number of weeks. But then, of course, the new news came out for Q2 and BigBear was sold off. But interestingly, although it was sold down to around about 472, so price was sold down to test this level here. Over the week, it ended up closing back up above this $6 line here, which corresponds to this peak here. So that's positive for BigBear. However, last week, sellers did come back in and there was more selling. But although the price did drop below $6, it's still back above this key level here of about 478. And technically, it's still above this medium-term trend line, indicating that although we've got a short-term downtrend in terms of the daily chart, on the weekly chart, the short to medium-term trend is still intact. So there's still a chance that BigBear is going to find support around this level here of 470, perhaps test it again next week. And if buyers come back in, we might see a few more green bars over the next 4 to 6 weeks. And if price keeps trending up, we might see a test of this level again in the next 4 to 6 weeks, testing that resistance level of 880. So 478 seems to be a key level of support for BigBear, and it relates to this peak back here in March 2024. $6 seems to be a support level for BigBear based on the price action support here. And of course, we know that 880 is a potential level of resistance based on the price action here. Now, other key levels for BigBear include the all-time high up here of around about $16. Under that level, we've got this price peak here created in February 2025, and that level is around about 10.40. Then we come down to the levels I've mentioned before, $8.80, $6, and $4.75. Underneath those levels, we've got key support around about this level here, which is about $3.73. And underneath that level, we've got this significant trough created in April 2025 when Big Bear stopped falling and started the current medium-term uptrend. And that level is about $2.30. Underneath that, for reference, we've got a strong level here around about $1.15 running across the bottom. You can see Big Bear found support multiple times here, here, and here. So I'll mark that up. And of course, under that, we've got the all-time low, which is at around 58 cents. So let's mark that up too. So right now, BigBear.AI is trading at around about $5.50, closed at that level last week. So it's trading above this level of $4.80 and underneath the level of $6. And we have still got this trend line intact. Now, what we need to see next week is price hold above this key level here of $4.79, $4.80, and above the trend line. We've had 2 bearish weeks, and when you look at the previous price action, you can see there is a short-term downtrend falling. It's falling back towards this trend line, and it needs to hold above that trend line if price is going to keep moving up in stages. If it breaks this level next week or the week after, then the risk is towards the downside. The probability is going to increase that Big Bear is going to fall further. And if it breaks this key level here, the chances are it's going to come back and test this level here of 370. So if you're thinking about buying Big Bear now, it might be wise to wait for a couple of weeks to see how price action evolves. Perhaps next week we might see a green bar. We might see it find support at around 520 here and start to move up. If it closes next week above $6, that's a strong indicator that the buyers have come back in and they want to have another go at pushing that price of Big Bear back up towards this level up here of $8.80. And of course, if it breaks that, looking at $10 and then onwards to 16. But of course, right now, the news has been quite negative around Big Bear because of the Q2 report. They've lost a few government contracts and they're still carrying a lot of debt. So it's important to think about those things because it all depends on how the market reacts to the news, the sentiment of investors based on the news. So in terms of trading this stock, right now, it's on the higher risk side. It's even higher risk for a long-term hold because the company is young, it doesn't pay a dividend, it's not profitable. So you've got to think about those factors when you invest your hard-earned cash. Over on the daily chart, we can have a look at the short-term trend for Big Bear since it peaked out at this level here. So you can see it was in a gradual uptrend. It surged and broke out over these 2 weeks here during June and July. And it met resistance at $8.75. It got sold off, found support down at $6. Buyers came back in, and then it had another go at breaking that $8 level. It failed again, and then it did get sold off back into this level of $6 once again. It was moving up, and then of course the Q2 earnings were released, and there was a big sell-off. It gapped down on that particular day, found support around $4.70, and then it closed back up just above $6. Since that time, it has been gradually lowering down towards this level of $4.79. So you can see after it moved up and found resistance here, it was sold off, found support, buyers came back in, they tried again, it came back down, it formed the lower low here, there was a lower high, sold off again, back into 6. And then we've got that lower high again. So you can see here that it is starting now to trend downwards. It's starting to trend downwards, okay? So over the short term, and you can even add a little trend line there. just to indicate that over the short term, since this date here of the third week of July, Big Bear has been trending down short term. But the medium term trend is still intact. It's still moving up over the medium term. So if I zoom out on the daily, you can see here it's trended up, it's took off, it's been traded here between 6 and 8, and now it looks as if it's trending down to find support here around about 475. So this is a key level for Big Bear over the next few weeks. Big Bear has to hold this level here of 480, has to hold the trend line if this medium term trend is going to continue, and we are going to see price, come down here and then potentially move back up into this zone here and once again test $8. If it breaks through there, then it's looking to move towards 10 and then on to 16. But right now it looks as if Big Bear is going to test this level of 470 over the next few weeks. And if you're looking to buy Big Bear, this is going to be the key test. If we see a green reversal bar around about that 475 marker, that shows the buyers have come back in and they're holding above that line. And you could use that reversal bar as a trigger to take a trade on Big Bear and then perhaps look to trade it up to the $8.80 resistance. Possible trade, but very high risk. You could also use that reversal bar to build your position if you're holding Big Bear long term. Of course, we know this is a speculative stock, so in theory it should make up a small percentage of your overall portfolio because it doesn't pay a dividend, it's not profitable, and the price is volatile, so buyer beware. So if you were to take a high risk trade with Big Bear, and this is high risk, if we do get a big reversal bar, so something like this, nice big reversal bar here during that week of April, if we get this sort of reversal bar in the next couple of weeks around about this level of 475 support, that would indicate that buyers are coming back in, and it could mean that Big Bear is finding support here and is now going to start trending up like this, back up towards this level of $8. So you could use that as an entry rule, and it would give you potentially an 80% upside buying at this support level of 480 and then looking to sell around about that 870 resistance. So possible trade, risk to reward of 3.7 using this level as your stop loss, 22% stop loss because of the volatility. So that's an option, but very, very high risk at the moment. So overall, Big Bear is in a short-term downtrend. It's coming back to test this level of 478, 480, which might offer an entry for a short to medium term trade. Or for an investor, you could build your position on the reversal. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you still bullish on Big Bear? Are you building a position? Let me know. Thanks for watching.